Okay, I just made more of my succulent soap, and it's what you're hearing is the excess Himalayan salt falling off the soap. It is, this one is called Lush Succulent. It has a layer of brown oxide, pink, green, and a little bit of blue for the rest of it. A beautiful copper mica line, and it has some succulents that I piped last year, and also some glycerin embeds that are succulent shapes from a mold. So we're going to do a cutting of our Lush Succulent. This is I'm going to turn it to the side so that the salt doesn't get dragged through the soap. And I think I'm going to, with this bar, make the bar a little bit thicker, about an inch and a quarter. So we're probably going to cut through some of the succulents, but this generous sized bar of soap like so. I modeled this one after a soap I made last year, but you know, every year things do turn out a little different each time, which makes the whole soap making process always exciting and interesting. So I'm going to just take my little orange cutter here. This year I'm just doing some more generous size bars. So they're about an inch and a quarter, like that. Now you see that little, like that little waviness right there? I think that's from the cutter string. It's got a really thin cutter string, but also maybe it's not tight enough. Okay, so let's tighten that up a little bit. So let's do another cut. Oh, there goes the string. I knew this string was going to be really, really thin. All right, I need thicker cutter string for this machine. All right, let's see here. So it shouldn't... Okay, that's better. Okay. This is my second time making this soap, and before I used a really big, wide kind of tray type of mold or container that would give me several bars at one time. But this time I've decided to do a loaf, and I'm just getting some really kind of funny results with that. So the soap on the top kind of looks a little choppy. I'm not sure why, because I used a lower lye concentration than I normally do. I used to use 37 and I had great results, and now I went down to 34. And I also used aloe vera juice Instead of just plain distilled water. I used aloe vera juice and distilled water. Because this is a succulent soap, I decided to actually put a succulent juice in there. But it's giving me kind of like a weird texture at the top of my first bar, so we'll see what happens. Why it's doing that. Anytime you introduce something different, you do take your chances. It could turn out really well, or something could go wrong. So it's kind of always a surprise. And I noticed that my soap also overheated right around my the succulent embeds. There is like cracking and separation a little bit, just a little bit. So my soap bar is still pretty hard. This has been curing for about, this has been sitting for like 24 hours. And it's a nice, smooth bar of soap. I'm using those kind of inexpensive Amazon molds with the purple silicone liner. That and so some of those are okay. They're inexpensive, but I noticed sometimes the silicone can be a little thin. This one looked like it was pretty thick, and it wouldn't be a problem. So we'll see. Wow, now this is a totally different swirl. If you look here, that's a really different look than this, which is these very thin layers. I don't know how I feel about that. If I like this new look or the old look. It's certainly colorful. I really do like green and pink as a color combination. And, you know, the brown has a nice kind of neutral look to it, so it doesn't compete against all these colors. And I did kind of spoon texture the bottom to get a little waviness, and there is a little copper mica line. So each bar is going to have some succulents. You might not get, most probably won't get a whole. You'll just get a part of a larger one. But I think you still pretty much get the idea what the theme is. Still getting kind of like this little wave, like a little wave. Oh, the major problem with the Amazon molds I noticed was that the silicone, the weight of the soap inside the silicone, even when you fill it to the top, isn't enough to push that silicone out so that it's right up against the wooden mold. And I thought, now, you know, here's a case where the silicone is too thick and causing issues. So you just can't win. Another bar. That's very pretty. I like the lime green. But you can see that this little separation here, I think that's from the soap overheating. Maybe. I'm not sure. That's a theory. I love this fragrance. It's a very fresh kind of very kind of, but it's not like a men's cologne fresh. It's very clean. It's very kind of watery, if that makes sense. And it's just, and it's a little bit perfumey, but not in a heavy-handed kind of way. There's another one. So these were all embeds, not all of them, but some of them were embeds from last year's soap that I had piped with cold processed soap. And I actually like embeds made out of cold process better because they don't sweat, but they are a little bit harder to make because you have to wait for the soap to set up. Okay, that is the cutting of, here's a smaller bar. And I'll just plane that to get rid of all the extra mica there. You can see all that mica. But I'm going to, when I plane it, it'll look like this. Here's the top. So let's see how many. These are pretty generous sizes. Most of them are about 1.25 inches, and there are some smaller bars. So let's see here, 1, 2. This one here just seems really, bottom of it seems really curvy. I don't know what's going on here. This part. The soap is kind of crumbly, which makes me wonder, like, why? When something's crumbly, it has high lye content, or the lye is not mixed. But I mix everything to death, so I don't know what's going on with this one. Maybe it's the fragrance oil. But we have 1, 2, and then the second bar is perfectly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 bars. No, it's not, it doesn't zap. I just did the zap test, and the soap is not zapping me, so it's not lye heavy, but it's just very weird and crumbly textured on the first bar. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are you okay, Lai? Yeah. 13, 14. There's going to be a 13, 14 bars for sale. And that's the cutting of the Lush Succulent soap. Oh, there's another bar I forgot right up here. There's a lot going on with this soap. There's aloe vera juice. There's apricot, ground apricot seeds for exfoliation. There's, what else is going on in there? There's a lot going on. I don't like single bar cutters because they get funny. They don't always cut straight. They leave wavy kind of lines sometimes. And, you know, which makes you have to plane, and that wastes soap. Whereas like a multi-bar cutter will, you know, just, you're done. You chopped 13 bars at once or 18 bars at once, and you're done the job. And if everything is tight, nice and tight, usually it cuts it very, very straight. But if you don't have a bar cutter and you're thinking about getting one, I would definitely say start out with a single bar cutter because it lets you be, it's very versatile, you know, because not everybody wants or wants a 1-inch bar every single time. Because with the multi-bar cutter, you have to, you know, tell the person who makes the bar cutters what the thickness of your bar will be, and you're kind of stuck with that width, unless you buy yet another multi-cutter which has a different width. And that could be very expensive. So if you're starting out, I definitely will say get a single bar cutter. It's the most versatile cutter. You can use that for a very long time. And a multi-bar cutter is definitely something that'll save on time, but it's something that you can definitely get later. But this will do the job, definitely do the job. And also if you have soaps that are cut in different directions, you'll definitely need a single bar cutter for that. Like if you have a soap design where you have to cut the loaf like horizontally, like not like this, because of the way the design, swirl design goes, then you're definitely going to have to cut it into the separate bars with this type of cutter. So sometimes it's like, yeah, it's this type for many reasons.